Hi, I'm Kim McGreevy from the Dixon United Methodist Church, and this is the daily devotional for Friday, September 24th, Kids Day. So today is the finale of the story of Joseph. Here we have Joseph in his beautiful coat given to him by his father Jacob. He was the favorite of 12 brothers. He was not favorite. He was his dad's favorite, but not his brother's favorite. They did not like his dreams that he had, and he shared with them about them bowing down to him and him being better than them. He didn't like that they told their father reports of them when they were out working. So they had, in fact, put him in a pit, devising to get rid of him, and ultimately sold him into slavery in Egypt. In Egypt, he was imprisoned ultimately, although he rose to prominence when he was able to interpret dreams properly. First, he interpreted the dreams of two of Pharaoh's servants, then Pharaoh himself. And the dreams he interpreted for Pharaoh were so important, they led Pharaoh to put him in charge, second in command in Egypt, in charge of the grain and of feeding the people, so that in the upcoming famine that he had predicted from the dreams, with God's help, of course, who was behind all of this, he was put in charge of taking care of the people through this famine. Now, the famine did not only happen in Egypt, it also affected the people in Canaan. Canaan is where Joseph is from and where his father and brothers still lived. The father, Jacob, said, "We need grain, and I have heard there is grain in Egypt, even though we have none here." So he sends his sons, all but the youngest, to go and secure some grain for them from Egypt. Now, who do you suppose they had to see when they got there? In charge of the granary was Joseph, their brother. So they came before the person they knew was in charge and bowed down to him. Now, he had a dream of his brothers bowing down to him, and he recognized his brothers, but they did not recognize him. Of course, it had been years. He'd grown up, and he was in all this finery. They did not recognize him. But Joseph realized, these are my brothers that caused me to be enslaved and put in prison and sold. So I'm not going to let on who I am, and in fact treated them rather harshly, maybe some of their own medicine. So when they came and asked him for grain, he accused them of not just coming for grain, but instead of being spies on the land. And they tried to convince him otherwise. No, we come from Canaan. We're brothers. We have one young brother left behind and one that passed away, but we were once 12 brothers, and we've come to secure food for our families. Spies, he says. So he ultimately throws them in prison, but then a few days later decides, okay, you can leave one of your brothers here as security, and you go back and you bring me this younger brother you say you have, and then I will believe your story. Otherwise, you're spies. He did allow them to take grain with them, which he in fact didn't end up making them pay for, which they were a little confused about, but they went back and had to tell their father they had to leave a brother there, and that they wouldn't be able to go back unless they took Benjamin, the youngest brother, to prove that they had been telling the truth. Of course, Jacob, no, you're not taking my youngest son. So some time goes by. They're, of course, sad that Simeon's left behind, and they need more food. So Jacob ultimately says, you're going to have to take Benjamin and go. My heart will be broken, but please come back with him. So they go once again, and they again see Joseph. Now, Joseph was a little bit sad the last time he saw them. He had really thought about it, and I'm going to put a little tear there because he had overheard his brothers feeling bad about what had happened to him and saying, we're probably having all this trouble because we were so bad to our brother. And the brothers didn't know that Joseph could understand their language. He thought he only spoke what they spoke in Egypt. But in fact, he knew. So here they come again. Okay, and they have the youngest brother. Oh, that tore at his heart some more. So he had to hide away a little bit and cried a little bit more, but still the harsh face, not revealing who he is. So he had them come in and in fact have a meal with them. They were like, well, what is this guy doing this time? So this time he has a meal with them, and sends them off with their grain for their family. But he tells his stewards, we're going to do a little trick here. And he put a valuable cup into the sack of grain that his brother Benjamin was carrying home. And he told them, when they get part of the way, I want you to overtake them on their way home and accuse them of being thieves, that somebody has taken a valuable item, and go through their packs and bring them back. So in fact, that's what happened. He accuses them of being thieves. So they're on their way home. They get overtaken. They're accused of taking something. They said, we didn't take anything. Look in our bags. Open the bags, and there in Benjamin's bag is this valuable item. So they're dragged back to Egypt in front of Joseph. And he said, did you think I wouldn't find out? Of course, it's all a trick of his. And the brothers are just beside themselves. They plead. We told our father we'd bring our brother back. Please, after losing our other brother, we can't possibly go home without Benjamin, who you might take because he's a thief. And then Joseph couldn't hold it anymore. He just wept and wept and wept. And he broke down because he could no longer do this to his brothers. And he revealed to them, I am your brother Joseph, that you sold off into slavery. And I am so happy to hear that my father is still alive and to see you all. And please, I am forgiving you. Because he says, it was not you. It was not you who is responsible for all this that happened to me. It was God. It was not you who sentenced me here. It was God. God put me here so that I could ultimately be the saving for our family. I could save our family. And so please go back and get your father and bring him here and all your families. And in fact, I will arrange it so that all of you will have a place to live and have food to eat and be successful for the rest of your lives. Wow. So after all that had happened to him, Joseph forgave his brothers and was reunited with his family and made them all successful. And it had a very happy ending. So forgiveness is a really important thing that we all need to remember. Look at what he was able to forgive and was able to thank God for his family. And God was able to use the circumstances to produce success for the people. That's our story of Joseph. Happy ending. Want you to remember that you are going to pray this week using the little method we have with our fingers. People closest to you, your parents, sisters, brothers, friends. The community helpers, this finger, remember them. Your tall finger is leaders of the country. Then we have the sick, the lonely, and the sad. And last but not least, pray for ourselves. That's what we want to do, remember to do as well. So I believe next week you'll be starting with the story of Moses.